Another HBO show that premiered, not on Sunday though, on Mondays, as David Simon likes to do, most recently with The Plot Against America, which, Dave, I mean, if you want to talk a relic of the pandemic, The Plot Against America literally premiered like or the day before the pandemic really started, like a few days before, March
Mm.
16th, 2020. That was the last time we really got a David Simon property. We talked about the Deuce. I guess maybe has the Deuce come out since then?
No, the
Deuce
Deuce
was
was
before.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, Deuce was right before. Um, Plot Against America, we really liked. The Deuce we really liked. Obviously, The Wire. David Simon is Generation Kill. David Simon has made so much
Yeah.
good television for HBO. It's
So
crazy.
prolific, but the batting average is also so high.
Yeah,
And he's just a HBO workhorse at this point. Literally all of his shows that he's been the creator of have been at HBO the last 20 plus years.
it's funny. I haven't seen Treme. I've heard really good things
Yeah.
about it. Haven't seen Show Me a Hero.
I
Also
have. It's
heard good
awesome.
things. And it's funny because I feel like Show Me a Hero is like the least talked about one I see from him, and it's Oscar Isaac
Yeah.
being excellent in a David Simon show. That's like,
Bernthal's in it too.
yeah,
Here he is
it's like, oh,
reuniting with Simon.
the bad David Simon show is literally still excellent. So yeah, like you said, the batting average is really high. He's back in Baltimore this time. It seems like really just looking at how messed up the system of policing is as
Mm.
it's facing higher awareness around the treatment of people of color, people in the BIPOC population by the police, really examining, I think, a lot of the issues within the system,
Hmm.
as well as it seems like also going to be tackling how potential Trump presidency is going to impact the way that people prosecute things in the DA's office and above. So there's a lot of different things at play here. I thought this first episode was excellent. George Pelicanos and David Simon uh, were at the wrote this one, so there's I think obviously going to get a lot of talent from that. But I mean, just overall, what was your impression of this first episode? Were you impressed?
Yeah, I was impressed. I did really enjoy it. And I think it's coming at an interesting time. This is adapting a book of the same name from Justin Fenton, who is a investigative reporter for the Baltimore Sun. David Simon, of course, is a Baltimore Sun alumnus. As you said, he has previously made shows about his hometown in Baltimore with The Corner, and he actually worked on Homicide, Life on the Street as well, and then, of course, most famously with The Wire. So now to come back to Baltimore in some fashion and have police be involved and crime be involved again. I mean, what else would be involved with? It's a David Simon series. Uh, but to go back now, not redoing The Wire, but to go back now, what are you trying to say? What is this show actually about? And I think it's really interesting to have it grounded in 2015, and it'll go back in time as well. It's bit non-linear from what we saw in the first episode, but 2015 is kind of our present time, and the shadow of the death of Freddie Gray in Baltimore is kind of informing how everything's going on. But just a show that's really unflinching in its portrayal of uh, corruption in policing, and not just unfair and unequitable treatment by the police, but literally just straight up like police misconduct. And of course, all grounded in reality. That is the gun trace task force that was in Baltimore until it was exposed and taken down. It's just really compelling TV. And it's right up Simon and Pelicano's alley. And we actually have all 6 episodes directed by Renato Marcus Green, who just directed John Bernthal in King Richard, the Best Picture nominee, NBD. So I'm just really excited to spend more time with this just because already we have all these threads established through one episode of people on all sides of this story, crooked cops, uh, people, drug dealers and criminal types, and then people actually trying to fix it, whether they're normal cops or Justice Department people or feds, whatever it is. There's so much already going on, but I think the core subject matter, and you kind of already know like the opinion of Simon and Pelicanos if you know their work. If you go on Simon's Twitter, you kind of already know what they think about this, but now we actually get to see it dramatized.
Yeah, and yeah, you mentioned how they do just so much like laying of the foundation of the story in this first episode, and I feel like they do it so expertly. It never feels like it's like too much exposition. I mean, I think there's some moments maybe between like um Jackson and Steele, the two attorneys who are kind of at the center of the civil rights division of the Justice Department in this, where Steele is kind of explaining to Jackson, the newbie, like, oh, this is what's going on. These are the politics of things. These how things go about, and that does some of the laying, but of the groundwork. But I think there's a lot more of like showing you, right, like the moments where they're actually on the street, um, brutalizing people intentionally, coming into contact with people so that they have a reason to beat them up and arrest them. But then also, the stuff with Bernthal when they ransack that house. I used to say ransack. I guess it's more like they toss the house and raid it.
Mhm.
But you see a lot of the underbelly of the GTTF and just how corrupt they were and some of the shit they were doing. And Bernthal, man, I mean, the guy is just so good. To see where he's come. I remember seeing him in The Walking Dead the first
Yeah,
season,
that was the first time anyone really knew who he was
and he was so
10 years
dynamite
ago.
in that. And it felt like for a while he never was going to like break out of that, and now it just feels like people are really finally respecting him as like the excellent presence he is on screen.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like the Punisher, honestly,
Yeah,
Marvel,
good
Netflix. I
point.
feel like that really raised the profile for him broadly. But he's just taken lots of good parts, whether it's Fury or King Richard, which is definitely a bit different than what we expect from Bernthal. Um, even smaller stuff like Wolf of Wall Street. Like he's just a really dependable performer, really charismatic, but still unique. Um, it seems like this is going to be a bit more in line with what we think of him from, like, say, Sicario, for example, given what his Wayne Jenkins cop character seems to be, who I believe that's actually the real name of the officer in real life. But yeah, I mean, as soon as the episode ended, I was like, fuck, I need more of this right now. Obviously,
Yeah,
HBO knows how to spread it around. Really excited for that. But I actually saw some people saying in reviews that this is it's a mini series. I always really respect that. Like Simon, he does mini series, and except for the Deuce, everything's been a mini series lately. And
yeah,
uh, get in, get out, say your piece. But even if We Own the City might not have enough like thematic like comment to justify 6 episodes, I don't think it's going to be a problem just because we're going to get to see all these performers and all this like, tact and professionalism thrown in, that even if it's like more time kind of showing us again the wanton uh evil of this corrupt police unit, I don't mind, like even if it's like like that kind of wheel spinning doesn't bother me.
no, not at all. He just makes everything so much like fun to watch, even when it's like procedural shit. Like
Yeah.
if you watch The Wire, like you never would have thought like watching cops decipher and like listen in on phone calls would be as interesting as he makes it. He's just able to like
I,
highlight how fascinating.
if you've seen Show Me a Hero, it's like the actual subject matter of what they're like working on in this like small like Jersey municipality is like very super granular and not like this like riveting stuff of local politics, but just there's just a way with the pen
Yeah.
and the storytelling choices. What I really liked about We Own the City episode 1 though was the fake out they do. You have the guy being interrogated about his in the future scenes, and like you just assume he's a criminal because we've seen a lot of people being accosted and arrested by the police, and then we see this guy in the past break into a drug dealer's apartment that other police are watching too. We see this guy break in with his some of his colleagues, right? And we assume that he's you know, a rival criminal or something like that. And then we actually realize later on that no, these are cops. These are part of the corrupt cops. And it's like this whole fake out of like what the true focus is of the show, and
Yeah.
I thought that was done so well.
No, for sure. It Simon is just so clever in terms of how he crafts these tales, man. And it was kind of weird being someone who's watched The Wire probably 2 or 3 times, maybe even more in my life. Seeing people like Jamie Hector, who played Omar on the show, a couple other people like Delaney Williams, who's the police commissioner in this. He was a detective on The Wire. Um, Trey Chaney, Dominic Lombardozzi. It's like you see these people and like, especially Jamie Hector being this homicide detective when he was literally like the kingpin by the end of The Wire that everybody was after. It was like, oh, this is strange to see, but also kind of like a fun moment to see how far they've come since that moment where you can recast these guys and it's not that big of a deal. In terms of the storylines, though, I wanted to just shout out David Cornsweet,
Yes.
as McDougal. He just is like every scene he was in. I just thought he was awesome. I can't wait to see what more his character is going to do this season. But I loved him.
Yeah, and I was like, who is that? And I looked it up. I was like, oh fuck, I didn't recognize him like with the beard, and I was like,
Yeah.
I think of him from some of his Ryan Murphy roles, and this
Yep.
definitely feels different for him, and an awesome look. I'm really happy to see it. Definitely doing something new for his career.
Yeah. Last time we talked about him was probably Hollywood,
Yeah,
which I mean, as the lead in Hollywood to this, I think definitely a better look for him. Also, Wonmi Masaku as Nicole Steele, the attorney for the Civil Rights Division. I thought she was really excellent. So excited to see those two storylines play out specifically, but it's just going to be great. I mean, obviously, you want to see what Bernthal's going to do. That ending scene where he's just like sitting in the interrogation room with those crazy eyes, man. What a way to end it. So, looking forward to watching more of We Own the City. We'll be talking about it when the show wraps up.